Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's I Love Learning podcast. I am so blessed and so welcome to have my dear newest friend, Dr. Vokatis, with us today, and she is going to share her passion with us. And I have known Barbara for she was going to be on about, I don't know, 8 months ago, and we lost power. So pretty close to a year. But Dr. Vakas, why don't you introduce yourself and tell everyone what you're passionate about?
Hello, Gina. It's so nice to be here finally, to have a chance to talk to you. Uh, and I hope that everything will work this time.
It's
But
perfect.
we just never know. My passion in general is learning about how we can teach and how children learn and how we can support their learning so they can grow academically, but also in terms of their well-being, because learning is a part of this larger picture. So this is really my passion. But my latest passion is to discover how we can make some changes in terms of dog therapy, animal therapy,
Mm.
what more we can do with therapy animals that is simple, but that can benefit many children in terms of their learning. And I'm thinking of all children because in today's world, yes, sure, autistic children need some help. There are children with other conditions and issues, they need help too. But even regular so-called mainstream students, they also stressed out and have anxiety. So when you think about it, everybody needs some help and better education, better environment to learn.
Yeah, I love that. It's interesting. A few months ago, I went and visited a school, a K-12 school here in Mount Pleasant. We were doing Kindness Rocks, and it was so amazing.
Hmm.
But one of the things that was interesting was there was a therapy dog there, and you know who else benefited from it? The teachers.
Yes, they
So,
do. They do.
absolutely, everyone benefits from animals and therapy animals and just this beauty. And what have you found with your books? And so, if you don't know, you'll have to. I'll post her link afterwards, and you can go look at all her beautiful books. But what have you
Thank you.
found in your research with dog therapy, specifically in the benefits of how it helps with learning?
So benefits in terms of dog therapy, animal therapy, they're pretty well known in the literature. Um, the presence of the dog can lower stress, lower anxiety, increase all these positive chemicals in the brain, make everybody feel better, happier, calmer. So this is described in this literature. We also know about benefits of different kind, benefits that directly impact children's learning, such as reading. So
Hmm.
usually, many therapy dogs actually do it. Many therapy dog teams, because usually you have a dog and there is a person who needs to bring the dog to the classroom. So
Yeah.
there is the team, and you know that very well, Gina, from your own practice. Uh, so in many cases, the dog would sit down or lay down, and child would read a book to the dog. So it's a very interesting situation because the dog is not a person, yet the child is reading to the dog
Yes.
and finds it interesting and exciting and motivational. And one of the reasons for this benefit is the fact that therapy animals are just these lovable creatures who come to the classroom and they just love those children, and the children feel that love, and they just don't judge. They don't care how you read, if you make mistakes, errors as you read. So this is working so well. Children have more practice in reading. So this
Yeah.
activity is well known and again researched, and we know a lot about these benefits. But we don't know so much about benefits of therapy dogs in other subjects, in other
Mm.
areas. Let's say, in what ways therapy
Hmm.
dogs, therapy animals can support children's writing, or even learning in subjects such as math. And
Mm.
this is where, together with my collaborating teacher who works in a school where I take Carmel, we started thinking about these ideas, these activities, and started asking the questions, what else we can do, how else we can support children. And it started with writing and then with math, and we see some amazing results. So I
Mm-hmm.
think there is more benefits of including therapy dogs, and they are, I would call them like widespread. They can literally help in anything subject related, academic related, and um, well being, mental health. So this is really
Absolutely.
amazing.
Absolutely. I love that. And, one thing we do know about animals, and we both know that they're always in the moment. They're always in the moment with you and present with you. And so I think, especially during COVID, a lot of people got animals. And one of the things is they do really help with mental illness and mental health as well. So has there been a time, so as long as I've known you, which isn't a whole long time, but long enough to know your passion and your love for therapy and therapy animals and research and learning, has there ever been a time that there was something, maybe a hurdle, maybe with this work or in your own life, or maybe a hurdle with a student that you saw, that they were able to overcome, or that stood in their way of you kind of doing your passion or them doing their passion? And maybe if you could tell us like what that was and how that hurdle was overcome.
I think there is always something in a way. So
Hmm.
there is no one big one that I would say, but there's always something in a way, because considering how busy I am, full-time demanding job, and I have a child who's autistic, so there is a lot of always working with the school. Um, scheduling therapy dog visits, not an easy thing, and
Hmm.
there are things going on in my collaborating teacher's life as well. So sometimes it might be not possible to schedule a visit. Sometimes there is testing going on in school, so guess what, we cannot use the classroom because this classroom is used for something else. So there are obstacles, issues all the time,
Got it. Yeah.
all the time, and you just have to be determined. You have to just smile. Let's try another time. Let's see how it goes next time. There are things happening all the time, and for some people that may be something that they will be disappointed and maybe quit or whatever. But you cannot do this. You just have to understand that life is like that. We
Mm.
cannot assume that we will be able to fulfill our passion when we have this perfect life and we don't have problems with scheduling. It's not going to happen. So you just have to take it and do something about it, and it's possible to make it work. But you have to
Mm.
have an attitude and mindset for that, I think.
Yes, absolutely. And one thing, the beauty of what you've done, and I really inspire and really think is amazing, is that you wrote books. And I know that you're a professor and you're into literacy and writing and reading, and that's another passion. Um, what is that, what kept you moving forward? Is that what makes you continue, is writing these books and writing these stories? Or what is it, that when
Yeah.
you can't get in the classroom with Carmel, what is it that keeps you moving forward towards that passion?
So I love this question because actually the only reason I wrote these books, two
Uh-huh.
self-published and two published with the publisher, so there's altogether four. I never had any desire to publish a book, to write a
Got
book or
it.
publish.
Hmm.
Never ever. Even
Wow.
though people in academia, always there's someone writing a book.
Hmm.
Okay, but that was not my desire at all. So the reason I wrote these books is the fact is just what I is because what I saw therapy dogs can do in the classroom, is
Hmm.
because what I saw my dog can do in the classroom, and together, of course, it's not just the dogs present, but people make this happen or not happen. And because of the what I've seen on children's faces when we come in, because of what I've experienced when I listened to the teachers. The first book was about how we became therapy dog team,
Mm.
and that was just a history, sort of like a bio memoir of how that happened. And for the second book, I interviewed the teachers because I wanted them to speak in the book about what happened during those therapy visits and how they influenced children in the classroom. And that was the first time I saw what happened and how they saw these visits. And
Mm.
I've heard some incredible stories, including children speaking for the first time in the classroom
Yes.
because of the presence of the dog. So I think this practice and these therapy animals have such incredible powers that was the only reason to make me want to write books.
Absolutely. I love that story. I love the story when you've experienced. So, like I told you, my dog was a therapy dog, and there was a little boy in a hospital that wouldn't wake up. He
Yeah,
wouldn't wake up out of anesthesia. He just wouldn't wake up. And the parents were crying. Nobody knew what to do. But Lucy, they had our dog get on the bed. And guess what happened? The boy woke up.
unbelievable.
And it's the power of love, it's the power of love, and
Mm-hmm.
you can't deny that, when you see it and you feel it and you witness it. So I love that you wrote the books, to get that information out there. If there are children, if there are adults, if there's somebody struggling, just how beneficial this can be. So with that, what engages you every day to be, every time I've been with you, you just exude number one, beauty. Number two, just goodness and just joy. And so what engages you every day to help you continue to move forward and want to grow and be happy?
Thank you so much. You are just so kind, Gina. What in, what happens? I think it's the mindset that I have.
Mm,
Um, when you're passionate about something, also, so that's another thing. Having a passion, right? It helps you getting through obstacles and starting the day the right way. Going with my dog for a walk, making every day count. It's just there's a lot of things, but I think it starts with the way I think about the world, um, about what we can do. I am an optimist that we can do more. And
mm.
therefore, my thinking is that I can even contribute to that. So,
Yeah.
I even think that I can contribute to some changes in education because I see it's not going, it's just not in the right space for our children. Our children are not served the way they deserve to be served in our educational system, including in our country, and not only. But there are some other models that we can try to implement, use, learn from, and we somehow not doing this or doing it in a ways that I don't know. There are no changes that should be happening in education. So I am not. I am mad about these
Yeah.
issues, and because of that, I just do what I do, and I have this passion. I connect my passion to my job too. So these are not separated things. And but again, I think it starts with the mindset. So you need to
Mm.
have like this happy, energetic mindset. But in order to have it, it's good to have some kind of passion that helps in maintaining this mindset. I think. I don't know what you think, Gina.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely onto something. Learning, right, is the foundation of life. Once you stop to learn and have a desire to continue to learn and grow, there's research and direct research that shows a linkage to depression and to,
Yes.
conditions that lead to ultimately death. And so this is one of my passions for creating this podcast, is to introduce people to other people who exude and promote and live this life fully, that you can give recommendations to others who are listening to build this mindset, because it's not easy. It's not something you just wake up. It doesn't mean your life every day is positive. I mean, my
No.
day yesterday, if I could repeat it, I mean, there was a lot to it. And there are days, most days are difficult. And
Yes.
so you need to find that peace inside of
Mhm.
you that sets it on fire, that you can continue to move forward. So for you, was there a time or a specific moment or something that happened in your life specifically that gave you this thinking about your mindset. Can you like pinpoint what it is or what it was, or was there something you read, or is you're shaking
Yeah.
your head? Okay, so tell us.
Because yeah, it was a long time ago, and I'm trying to figure out if that was when I was already here in the United States. I've been here since 2000, so it's going to
Wow.
be almost 25 years next
Wow.
year.
Yeah.
Incredible anniversary. So I can't remember if that happened when I was still in Poland in Europe or already here.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't matter, but it was a long time ago. And I remember that I read an article somewhere. It was just a magazine, nothing really academic or
Mm-hmm.
anything like that. And in
Mm.
this article, there was a story about the founder of psychoanalysts
Mm.
that is Freud, right?
Mm-hmm.
Freud is the
Yeah.
founder of psychoanalysts. I think that's what you call it. Again, I'm not an expert right
No,
in this
you're
area.
good.
But there was an interesting story there. Supposedly, I even don't even know if it's true. Supposedly, one day, uh, the patient of Dr. Freud came to his office, and it was just totally. And the patient was just sad, just looking horrible. Something definitely happened.
Mm.
Sits down in front of Dr. Freud and says to him, "Well, something horrible happened to
Mm.
me, and I'm even like afraid to tell you what." so
Wow. Mm.
so the next thing is what Freud responded. He got up and went to his cabinet, I think one of his cabinets, and pulled out a bottle of champagne. I know, right? This is so strange. And says to the patient with like enthusiasm and energy, guess what? This means that something incredible is going to happen next.
Wow. Yes.
So I just read about it on this supposedly scene that happened a long time ago when I really didn't know much about mindset, about like motivational speakers. I didn't know much about this area really, but that
Mm-hmm.
just really hit me because it told me that it's not so much about what really happened; it's about how we see it.
Mm.
How we see it.
Absolutely.
So you can have something terrible happen to you, but yeah, of course, you are sad and mad sometimes too. But afterwards, you can kind of think about it again and maybe think of a different perspective,
Mm.
such as, and you can have I guess, a number of perspectives. You can think, well, whatever's happening to me is just not going to last. Or this means that maybe this was not meant to me, for me. Maybe something else is going to happen as a result. I just have to let it go and be curious and let's see what happens next.
Mm.
Like there is so many perspectives we can take on, and instead of just being so fixated at the negativity of whatever happened.
Mm.
So I don't know still if that was the true story, but it definitely
Well, it stuck with you. I
it
mean,
stuck with me.
yeah, it's a great, great perspective to have, right? Because what we found,
Yeah.
what has been studied is people who dwell in the past really and focus on the past and ruminate and just continue to think about it over and over and
Yep.
over about things in the past could lead to depression, right? Could lead to deep sadness. And if you're worried about what's going to happen, in the future and what it may be and what it could be, and then you could get anxious and anxiety.
Yeah.
And Dr. Adisher, those of you that don't know his work, he wrote a book to help deal with those types of things. But this idea of knowing something better is going to come, something better is ahead, and looking at it from multiple perspectives is a brilliant, brilliant insight to have. You said you had that like 25 years ago?
I don't know exactly how long ago that happened,
Yeah.
but it was quite a while ago, really. When
Hmm.
again, I just didn't know much about mindset, the importance of like that you can actually talk to your brain or tell your
Hmm.
brain how to not have negative thinking. I didn't know about any of these things, And that article really
Wow.
happened and just made me think, and it really is stuck in my brain, in my mind
Yeah, had
all
emotional
this
resonance.
time. So
Yeah.
I never opened a champagne when something bad happened, but maybe.
Maybe we should do that sometime. That would be nice. So great. Well, I really think one thing I want to ask you, because I know you have done so much work in literacy and reading and writing and just really good, heartfelt words in your books and so forth. So if there's people, and let's say somebody can't get a dog for whatever reason, maybe they have allergies, although I think there's a lot of dogs that kind of don't have those, but
Yeah.
for whatever reason somebody can't get a dog, or what would your advice be for someone listening who really feels that they've lost their passion, like they've lost their passion for learning, maybe they don't know how they're going to wake up tomorrow. What resources or recommendations or words would you have for them?
I think that if somebody approached me with this kind of statement, so to speak, I would first really listen to them.
Mm.
I mean, obviously, if somebody tells you this, they want to perhaps tell you even more, and you listen, and listen is just very important. So, coming up with the advice right away is probably not the best idea. Listening to them, but then saying really that I have that I have experiences in my life, knowing other people who went through similar issues or problems. So it's kind of like building a connection with that person. I think that's important too. And then telling them that whatever they're going through is really temporary,
Mm.
that whatever you're going through is always temporary, and you just have to find a solution to turn this temporary thing around. And it's possible to do it. How do I know? Because I've seen uh, through my other experiences with other people I know. And the most important aspect of trying to change this is just by being curious.
Mm.
Curious about, why am I even having these thoughts? Why am I saying that I am not happy anymore? I have no joy in life. Why do I say these things? Because knowing the reason will be extremely helpful.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's hard yourself to see those reasons. Uh, if that's the case, it would be beneficial to find a therapist whom you would trust and have a good connection with, and they can help you in doing this kind of work of figuring out together what are the reasons of this thinking of this
Mm.
kind. And I think that this aspect of curiosity is extremely important, and it's going to for sure lead to an incredible change with just probably very simple changes in thinking and some simple actions. But it would be good to do this work together with someone to have some support. So I
Yeah.
think that's what I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. And so if you're
Or
listening and you're feeling these ways, definitely seek out help. And just like we did with those birds that were on the ground yesterday, they needed help, and sometimes we need that. So thank you so
yeah,
much for joining me today. If people want to connect with you, what's the best means of finding you and reaching out? I'm going to post your books and your resources so
thank
people
you.
can look at those. Where can they find you?
I am on major social media platforms. So I am on LinkedIn. I am also on Facebook, on Instagram, and a little bit on Twitter, on threads, depending on my time too.
Wow.
So I am on all these platforms. So you can connect with me, you can DM me, and tell me what you think about dog therapy, animal therapy. ask questions. I would love to respond because I like to talk about these topics.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you for spending time with me today. Thank you for doing dog therapy and bringing love to the classroom. Thanks for being here. And I hope you all enjoyed today's talk and definitely reach out and we'll be posting resources afterwards. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Gina, Dr. Anderson, for
Cheers.
having me.
You
That was
bet.